Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest, one of my favorite young rising stars in the sport. You know him as the Shed, all the way from the UK, coming to us today from Florida, the USA. Please welcome Redcon 1 athlete and new Muscular Development magazine columnist, James Hollingshead. What's up, James?
How you doing, Ron? How you doing, mate? You all right?
Doing well, doing well. You were just at Target shopping, yes?
I was just at Target, just buying a toaster.
Yeah. You know what? So there's Walmart and Target are like two big chain stores that are kind of similar.
Yeah.
But Target is like 1% slightly upscale from Walmart.
Would you say that? Is that what it is? That what it is? I'm still figuring it out.
2%. It's not much. It's not much better. It's a little better.
Yeah.
Walmart's anyway. But to distinguish it from each other, some of us pronounce it Target. Give it a little bit more
To make it sound posh.
Target. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where do you shop? I shop in Target.
Target. Yeah. Well, Walmart, you can't do much of Walmart. Yeah.
So I go to Target for like all the kind of like kitchen utensils and stuff, and then I will admit I am a snob. I do go to Whole Foods a lot.
That's fine.
I am a Whole Foods man.
Well, we call that whole paycheck because you will spend your whole paycheck there. Yeah. $4 for a lemon or something. But
Literally.
Before we start recording, I confess to you, I have not listened to your vlogs. You have an awesome YouTube channel called IFBB Pro James Hollingshead. I do go to that for certain things. I like to watch your training. You're a beast in the gym. I love your Ask Me Anything series that you did for Redcon 1. That's on their YouTube channel. You're putting out a lot of great content.
Trying, man. Trying.
So now I have to do my due diligence and ask about the Olympia, because I know you've covered it in other videos, but I haven't heard what happened, because here I am sitting there in the Friday night. It was like, what is it, like 3 a.m. when you guys finally came on. It was ridiculously late. That was a long freaking show. My God. But anyway, you guys come out, and that wasn't what I was expecting, because I saw the improvements that you made in the fall of 2020 when you won British Grand Prix and you won the Europa, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And man, you look so good at those shows. Bigger than I'd ever seen you. Grainy, hard condition, just so much more improved. And I said, I think the first time I saw you compete was Tampa, 2017 or 2018?
18.
And I said, man, this guy right here, I'd like to see him filled out and, grainier and this and that. And that's the James that I saw in those shows. But unfortunately, I wasn't there. Didn't make it to Spain or UK. So anyway, I know this is a loaded question, but what happened? What didn't go right? What didn't go as planned for this Olympia?
Do you know what? It's hard to pinpoint one thing, because I think it was just one of them years, and I'm not excusing myself, but I actually forgot I even had COVID at like 9 weeks out.
Oh my God!
Like, because I was so focused on doing the show, and I don't let anything bother me, I forgot some of the things that happened. So, obviously that was the number one thing I had, and I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, that is what it is.
Well, let me ask you, how COVID hits some people barely have they're through it in a day or two, and some people they're suffering for like a month. Where were you?
I was out of action for like 10, 11 days.
Wow.
And I mean, I didn't leave my house for 10, 11 days. Couldn't train. I ate just a certain amount of food, stable amount of food. Couldn't do anything that was challenging to my lungs. My lungs were literally on fire.
Wow.
So all I could do literally was sit down. I sat down for 10 days straight. And even the first 2 or 3 days back in the gym after that, I was gassing out after like a quarter of a workout. Wow. Like I would get in there, I'd do maybe 1 or 2 exercises, and I was like, oh my God, I can't do any more. So it hit me for probably about 2 weeks. So it definitely shaved 2 weeks off of my prep. And I don't know what damage it done long term, but there'll be a lot of people that listen to this will be like, 2 weeks off the gym ain't going to do nothing. But I think it does. I'm not going to deny it. That's 2 weeks of not moving forward. Right. Even if it's 2 weeks of stagnation, you can't afford to stagnate when you're getting ready for a Mr. Olympia. It's not just your regular show. So being said,
this hit you at 9 weeks out from the Olympia?
This is about 9 or 10 weeks out. I remember all I know is it's on my Instagram. I remember putting a video up saying, guys, it's got me. And literally that was when it happened. So it's on there somewhere. And I know it wasn't that long ago. So I had that, and then obviously I had to travel to Dubai to even enter the US. I had to go to Dubai for a fortnight, which was great. And I was training awesome, and I was having a good time. I teamed up with like Andrew Jack for a few sessions. I've got friends over there, so it wasn't a problem. But I think something that I underestimated is how important it is to have your training partner. So, from 4 weeks out, when things start to get tough, that's really when your training partner steps up and says, stop being a bitch. And I didn't actually have that with me, and I didn't really think about it. I thought I was training hard. I thought I was doing everything I needed to do, but you know, there's always those reps that you could have got that you didn't get, and perhaps I was missing out on some of those when I didn't have a training partner around. So I think maybe my intensity, although it was intense for me alone, I couldn't really push myself like I can when I'm in the gym with my training partner. So
who is your trainer? Give this guy some credit.
It's my friend Nathaniel Heckles, who's trains in King's Gym.
Yeah.
Very, very strong, young, great bodybuilder. He's a coach. He's smart, intelligent. He knows my capabilities, so he knows if I'm holding back. And obviously, without having someone like him there to say, stop holding back, you don't know whether you're really, really giving it everything. And I think you can get away with that for a few days, but you can't get away with that for 4 weeks. Especially in the last few stages before a show, when you need to try and lift, you know, stay strong, give the body reason to stay big. Like the stimulus still needs to be there. You still need to lift the weights that you can lift, and you need to not give it any reason to shrink. You know, and although I'm doing check-ins every day, sending pictures and things, it's hard to judge a physique when it's standing there on its own. It can look fantastic there on its own, but then when you put it in a lineup, it looks very different. Because obviously, me and Patrick weren't too displeased with what we were seeing. Right. I was feeling a certain way in the prep. I did feel like I was over dieted, and there was a point where I should have said something to Patrick about knowing that I needed more food on this prep, which I didn't want to say because I'm not a bitch, and I feel like that's the worst thing you can do as a client, is be like, I need more food. But there was a point when I was in Dubai where my body literally started to run away from me, and I should have said something. It was my fault that I didn't.
Because you had put on, you had an off season from, what was the last show you had done? Was it Europa?
Wow, like November. Like I had plenty of time. I was cranking on the muscle run. I was a new body. I had a new body.
That's what I'm saying. You added new tissue. You had, I don't know how much more muscle you put on.
There would have been about 7 or 8 pounds of lean tissue by the end of the diet if it was done right.
Okay.
For sure.
I mean, well, that commands more calories. That 8
pounds
of muscle. Yeah.
It does, and I think we underestimated that. I think as a combined effort, you know, me and Patrick, we both agree that we both made errors here. It's not like I'm blaming him or him blaming me.
Right.
It's a bit of lack of communication from my half on some of the things that I felt, but also an underestimation of the changes that we've made since last year in terms of, like you say, physically being a larger human being, more demand. We didn't really take that into account. We kind of tried to do things the same, but forgetting that the body isn't the same body. And this happens, you know, it's a mistake. And I won't lie, like in the beginning, I was really upset, like when it come to that weekend, because I could feel that my body wasn't where it should be when I was even at the Olympia before I'd even got on stage. But I just tried to tell myself that's just the regular feelings you have when you're doing a big show. It's the pressure. It's nothing other than the pressure. But when I got to that, when I went backstage and I looked in the mirror and I'm pumping up, I'm like, shit, man, it's not there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had assumed wrongly now, obviously, there was like a peaking thing that you and Patrick had tried something and you'd flattened out. But it sounds it was like,
just flat. Like no matter how much I was eating from 2 weeks out, my body wasn't filling out. So, you know, we had my carbohydrate intake up at like 600 plus, like daily for days on end. And I'm not saying 3 days, I mean weeks.
Wow. Like
probably a couple of weeks. And my body still wouldn't soak anything up. And the mistake we were making is we were trying to fill me up on just clean food. And unfortunately, as much as I know Patrick's an advocate of clean food, I have a history of doing shows and having used foods that you would consider bad as part of my prep. My body responds well to them. And I should have said, you know, when I felt flat, I knew exactly what sort of foods I was needing to eat. I was like, when I was in Dubai, like I say, I was about 3 weeks out when it all started going a bit funny.
Yeah. And
I was like, before bed tonight, I shouldn't be eating chicken and rice. I honestly should be eating like burgers and chips. And I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be maybe a pound heavier, but it will hold me for about 3 days and then he can reassess. But, you know, by continuing with the chicken and rice, you lose another pound, you lose another pound, you keep losing another pound. And before you know it, one of those pounds took you over the edge of no return. And I got to that point, literally around I've literally know the date, around September the 20th is where my body went overboard. I was literally where I needed to be September the 17th. Those 3 days after that, something in between that is when my body just went.
So let me ask you, for the shows last fall,
that
you won, were you doing the burgers and fries and stuff like that?
No, but my body was last year. My body was soaking up 200 grams of carbs.
Wow.
Like last year, you give me like a week took me down to around 200, 250.
Yeah.
And my body would be happy with that. This year, you put 600 in, it's like putting 50.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have done nothing different. Like there's no different drugs, No different. Like, I'm not using insulin. It's not like I've done anything stupid or retarded, like crazy things. There's nothing different, honestly. So the only thing that was different was I was obviously heavier at that point than last year, and the travel. So being in a country that's a lot hotter.
Yeah.
But how much can you blame to travel? I don't know. I didn't really look at it as an excuse. I was like, so what? I'm going to Dubai. It's hot. They've got good gyms. They've got good food. Like, that shouldn't make a difference.
Right.
But you look back at your prep and where it started to go wrong, funnily enough, was when I was in Dubai. So I'm like, okay, is that the lack of training partner? Is it the nutrition on the coaching side? Because it's certainly not anything to do with the supplements, because I've been using the same supplements for years.
Right.
So it's really quite hard to pinpoint, honestly. And I still haven't really truly figured it out. But the only thing I can really think is having not had my training partner there and maybe just under eating slightly for too long.
So you're backstage in Orlando at the Olympia.
Yep.
You're pumping up and you're going into the biggest show in the world, and you already mentally, you're not looking the way you want to look.
Yeah.
How did you go out there and keep your composure and try to keep that confidence and everything that you need to have up there, knowing that?
It's just one of them, like, stranger things sometimes happen. Sometimes you go on stage feeling awful and it all works out. But, I'm backstage and I'm looking at everybody's physiques, and I wasn't worried about anyone. I really wasn't. And it's only when I looked in the mirror, I'm like, man, I'm not myself. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, and, on the day I placed where I should have placed, because that's what I brought. And I know that. And I'm happy to accept where I placed, because that was the James Hollingshead that was on stage on that given day.
Right.
It is nowhere near, nowhere near. People like, it's funny, I say it, like, ever since people that used to be supportive are now not supportive, or the ones that said, we like you, James, because you're not the most genetically gifted, but you've pushed the boundaries and you're doing really well. And now the ones to say, oh, you've got so many flaws, you're shit. And I'm like, what makes me laugh is like, just wait. Like, because I promise you, I looked at that lineup, and on a good day, I would have been like top 6. I don't give a shit what anyone says. Like, when I say top 6, I don't mean front end, I mean back end. But 6th from 12th is dramatic. And people go, you really think that a few changes would have made a difference? Yes, guys. I guarantee if I looked how I should have looked, I would have been up in that area where, friends of mine like Ian and Hunter and, especially around where Ian was placing is where I looked to myself placing. I have every respect for Ian, but I know on a good day, I can stand next to Ian and look respectful. Yeah. And that was where I was looking to be. I was looking to be up there with Ian. I wanted to share that time with him on that stage. He's a friend of mine, and I was looking forward to having that battle, and it never came.
Yeah, he ended up 6th, right, Ian?
Yeah, he ended up 6th or 7th, and that's where I felt that.
Yeah,
I would have been around with him, but
no, absolutely.
What I brought was not that. Unfortunately,
if anyone that has an eye and has been watching these things for many years, I would have had you looking the way that, even the way you looked at the shows last fall when you were a few pounds lighter, didn't have the muscle. I still would have had you right around 6th, 7th in that particular lineup.
On a human body, yeah. When you come on stage looking bad, like when you don't peak, it exemplifies a lot. Your weaknesses are very much highlighted.
Yeah.
And I know my bloody weaknesses. Like, people ain't got to tell me what my weaknesses are. Like, Jesus Christ, I stand in the mirror every day posing. Yeah. I know my weaknesses, but they're very exaggerated when they're overly emphasized by things being gone. Right. When you're flat, all your weaknesses are going to look double bad. I know that. Yeah. But that's why you got to wait for a bodybuilder to come in as good as he can, so those weaknesses aren't as apparent. And that's all we can do as bodybuilders. So it is funny, because you've got like guys saying, no, you ain't got this, I've never seen this on you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. And like I say, I'm not really bitter, because I don't mind, and I can still pat myself on the back. So I've been on the Olympia stage. What have you done? Right. Because a lot of these people that are jumping at me and jumping down my throat, God, come and have a session with me. You wouldn't even survive the session. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you can't even, you're telling me about being on the Olympia stage looking at shit. You wouldn't even survive a workout with me. Come on.
Dude, a lot of these people on Instagram, there's no picture, there's no avatar. You look at the account, 0 posts, 0 followers. It's their troll accounts.
Yeah, like, it is what it is, part of the game. But even the ones that do show their identity, that just like to be a bit harsh.
Dicks.
Again, the funny thing is with them, they like to be dicks, but if they spent an hour with me, they'll probably get on with me. So I'm like,
of course,
I'm happy on myself. I know what sort of character I have. And of course I'm going to stick up for myself, and I'm going to say when I could do better, because it's the wrong mentality to not think that,
So we had all these shows after the Olympia Why did you shut it down? Why didn't you keep going and hit some of those shows, or at least one of them?
So two reasons. The amount that my body had sucked down was too much for me to get back to. I'm only just now like where my body starts to look right again. Okay, and it's taken me that long.
Wow.
And I would have jumped into Toronto 100%. But I'm in the midst of just sorting out my visa. If I leave the country and I don't have this paperwork with me by the time I leave, it's going to slow the process down massively. It's very hard to get back into the US when you're out.
Yes.
Because the next time I try and come, they're probably going to say you have to be vaxxed. So there's a lot of things going on over here that didn't allow me, like Spain. I could have done Spain this week, honestly, and it would have been perfect. I was in, I'm not in contest shape now as such, but I certainly could have been, and I would have been a lot heavier and a lot fuller and a lot better. But I'm just stuck in America at a minute because I don't want to slow down that process that the people at Redcon have started for me, which has cost money and time.
Sure.
Because I would have loved to jump in them shows. The only problem is like the Nevada show, the first one that happened after the Legion, it was just too soon, and I was still like that. Like I was small. My body was so sucked down that even after 2 weeks after the Olympia or whatever, it would have been an 85% James. I'm not going to do that to myself.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was one of those.
All right. Well, that's all the old news. Let's get into some new news. When did you first start thinking about coming to America? Was it as a child, or was it much more recent?
No, I've never really been that way. It's only really when I came over. Obviously, came over with Luke in 2020 for the Arnold Classic to be with Redcon and hang around. And I kind of liked the idea of it then, but I didn't really fully entertain it because I love England. Like I am a proper English person. I do love my home. I think the combination of Luke passing away and my mum passing away, you just think sometimes you've got to get a little bit uncomfortable and go places that you're not necessarily willing to go in order to open new doors. When I really think about England, of course I have amazing friends there and I have things going on, but I got to the point where I was living the same day over and over again and felt quite stagnated. I would go to the gym. This sounds like the perfect day to people. I would go to the gym, do cardio. I'd come home, I'd play on my PlayStation, wait till training time, go train, come home, play my PlayStation. And that is amazing. It's amazing. But I can do that. I can do that when I retire, and right now I want to be the best I can be on the stage in the industry as an ambassador for bodybuilding. And I don't want to say to myself later in life, like, oh, there was opportunities there and I never really tried to chase them. So what happened is obviously when I came back to see Redcon this time, I kind of just went gun ho and I just lapped it all up and I just absorbed everything. I had the conversations, I spent time with, Aaron, and I just was like, what do you think? Would I be an asset? Would I be, beneficial? Would it be having me here? Yeah. And he always had the opinion that it would. So he kind of was, behind the idea of having me here more on a permanent basis. Oh, really? So really it's kind of partly my own feelings, but partly what I wanted to see what Aaron and the company would want. Because like I say, I've been treated so well by them. I actually do really care about what they want, and I try to deliver. That's why I try to be as good as I can with the content. I try to make myself available. Like when I'm over here, I go to the office, I see people, even on the days they're not asking me to, just because I honestly am super grateful for the position I'm in, and it's a very rare position to be in. And I don't want to take that for granted, and I don't want them to ever think that I'm taking that for granted. So I think it's, the least I can do is say to them, what's the best thing for us in the grand scheme? I'll do it. I'll do my best to, cooperate and make things work. And let's spend the next year or two just working towards your vision and my vision, and just do bodybuilding and, promote Redcon 1. Also, by being here, of course, all the shows are here. So none of this traveling nonsense that I would have to do like prior to this. Oh, cool. And I know realistically, I need to do 2 or 3 shows in a row to really get the familiar feel, because all the guys that are doing well now, it's like they're running 3 or 4 shows deep, and then by the 4th show they're getting their reward. Samson, guys like that, they're smart, and that's what you got to do. And I would have done the same, like I say, after this Olympia, if things were a little bit different in regards to the paperwork for the visa and where I am in the world geographically versus where the shows are. If there was 4 or 5 shows in the US all through November, would have been perfect, but unfortunately it's just not that way.
I could have gone to some of them. I'm not going over to freaking Romania and all these places. I'd love to.
I know, and I'm reluctant to as well, because I honestly want my next show to be a US show. I've done the two shows that are on the other side of the globe, and they're good, and they give you, your qualification, but I don't believe they give you the clout, the oomph going into the Olympia. I want to win an American show, beat some Americans, and be a name on that list before it's even the beginning.
New York Pro. I'm telling you right now.
Why not? Why not?
Do the New York Pro.
It's possible. I just said to Pat, I can be ready from March.
New York Pro is May, like third weekend in May, so plenty of time.
Yep.
Tell me about you were part owner in King's Gym, correct?
So I'm I'm one of the founders, so I'm like involved on a nice level where I don't have any of the stresses. My friend John is the main financial.
Okay.
Gotcha. So he's him and his son-in-law is a very good friend of mine, Mother. They're just running things over there, and it's good. So I'm just I'm still in contact with them guys, and I am on like payroll to a certain extent. So still get my little bit coming through from the gym, and obviously when I go back to the UK, it's obviously home. And we've got 3 gyms now. We've opened another 2 as well in the London area. So they're expanding all the time. And who knows, maybe we'll have one over here at some point. Yeah. If that's the case, then, bring some of those vibes over to the US.
So you've been training at the Redcon 1 gym in Boca Raton,
Florida. I've been training in Redcon. Great gym. Perfect. It's got a real nice variety of equipment. It's all very specialized, everything's specifically picked. So, it's not all matching. It's all odds and sods, which is the best way. You got like Body Masters, Cybex, Nautilus, Atlantis, Panata, name it. It's like it's got like such an array of specified equipment that you never get bored when you're in there, because you can always mix up your workouts if you wish to. The vibes are good, the staff are good. Got a good relationship with the general manager.
Kai Greene trains there, correct?
Kai trains there. Yeah, I've trained with Kai a couple of times. Awesome. We haven't done a serious session yet, because to be fair, the 2 sessions that me and Kai have done together, we spent a lot of time like talking and just like, I suppose, getting to know each other really, which was really cool, because the Kai that everyone sees on the social media is not necessarily the true Kai. Like he is obviously he is a deep thinker, but sometimes I find a lot of that's more just character. And there's a very interesting human behind that who has really great knowledge and understanding of all things, not just bodybuilding, but like just life in general. He's a very good person. So
he's very diverse. He's an incredible artist too.
Oh, mate, he's incredible. He's been singing lately. He's been doing all sorts. He's really putting in the effort and expanding himself as a human being. So he's one of the nicest people. I have to say, like, we've worked together and done a few commercials and stuff for Redcon. And I've had some really touching direct messages from him just saying, hey, buddy, like, I just wanted to say that you did excellent today, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like parental, and I really respect that, because he's, in my eyes, he's one of the OGs. He's a GOAT. He's like, he's like the Victor Martinez's and the Branch Florence. It's the era of bodybuilders that I certainly looked up to the most, and was fortunate enough to grow up seeing kind of firsthand. So when you get people like themselves sending you such messages, it's all inspiration towards the bodybuilding, and of course it lets you know that you're in the right circles and in the right place.
Right on. No, they just had a big event. Was it yesterday when they opened up the Redcon 1 Recovery Center inside the gym?
So literally Redcon gym, and this will be at the other ones as well. We have like a recovery clinic which does all like your intravenous health packages, and then you've got your floating beds, your hyperbaric hyperbaric chambers, time chambers from something else. Time chambers from Dragon Ball Z. It's time machine. Anyone that watches Dragon Ball Z know why I said that. And then we've got like obviously physiotherapists, cryotherapy. So it's all under one roof. So you can literally, the gym that you train at, you can also book all these therapies and treatments in as well. So it's great, basically. So you just have to go to one place rather than 2.
I saw they had someone there doing fillers and Botox. Did you get any of that done? I know you're a young man. No,
I'm not ready for that yet.
No, you don't need that stuff.
I've got enough plush enough.
Tell me though, the UK weather, maybe I'm exaggerating. It can't be cold and dreary and rainy all the time over there. I'm sure
you know what? The UK gets kind of, I don't know, it gets a bit of a bad rep, but the weather's all right sometimes. From what I've been looking at, and I've been in contact with my friends, the weather hasn't been too bad lately. So anyone that's like looking to visit the UK, I would not worry too much. The weather is not as bad as everyone says.
It can't be that bad because where's the Queen live? Was it what's that place called?
Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Palace. You know Giles with MD, of course.
I know, and she had her kit off, so it must be okay.
Lauren's in front of that place in a bikini. It can't be that cold over there.
I'm surprised she didn't get snatched up by the guards
with the big furry hats.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
It's crazy, but you got Florida, obviously sunshine, and I don't think it ever gets. I don't think it ever gets really much above below 70 there most of the year.
Very, very warm, very humid. And it does rain, and when it rains, it's still warm. So, and it can rain for an entire day, but it's tropical kind of rain. So, it's not like the rain that you have in Europe where it's like actually cold.
Right.
So it doesn't change the temperature at all. But yeah, I tell you what I did yesterday. Actually, I paid a visit to John De La Rosa's gym.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so that's something that I'd been up to. He's got a gym with two other professionals.
Sean Cavell,
Cavell, him and his wife.
Holly,
so the three of them have got a gym in Sawgrass, which is only like 35 minutes from where I am. Obviously, I'm in Boca. Yep. So I took a little drive down there yesterday and had a little catch up with John. Really nice to see him. And the gym's great. So that's another little something I've been up to. Thought I'd go and pay a visit to him. It's really nice to see John, because last time I saw John properly was after he won the Toronto Pro in 2019. And Ian actually got second, because we went out for dinner with him and Neil and Flex after. So it's really good catching up with him, and he'll be back on stage no doubt 2022, because I don't know if anyone knows, but he's working with someone new, and I'll let him say when he's ready to say, but it's pretty cool.
We did an interview like 2 months ago. I don't think he was already working with them at that time.
Yeah, so it'd be worth getting him back on, because you could ask him.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I love talking.
I might even tell you after, but I don't keep this one a secret from the public right now. Just in case. I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
So what's the situation? Are you here temporarily? Do you have to go back to England to get all your stuff, or what's going on?
It's pretty much the second there. So basically, there's all the paperwork that needs to be done here, we're doing before I have to leave. So on our side, all the paperwork's done here. Then when I go back to the UK, because there is some signatures and stuff I need to do at the embassy, my side, stamps and whatnot. So I will go back to the UK, and I'll kill two birds with one stone. I'll get the stamps done so I can come back, but I'll also collect some stuff that I want to bring over that I haven't brought over. But I obviously still have a house in England that I've bought that is always going to be my home as well, which I will keep. And anything that I don't want to bring over can be stored there. Not sure what I'll do with that. Maybe rent it to a friend, or just, I don't know. Because Yannika's not going to be able to move here straight away either, because she can't get the visa I get, because this is
I was afraid to ask about that whole situation.
No, it's cool. So she can't come straight away. But there is like things we can do later down the line, and that's all in the working as well. But it's cool because she can come over for like 90 days at a time, or if she doesn't want to be around me that much, she can come for less. And we'll make it work, because we've done this before, because she went back to Norway for a year.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'm a really simple guy. I'm going to say it now, I don't require the attention of women. So I'm very safe bet for her. It's not like she'll disappear and I'll be like, I need a woman, because I really don't.
God bless you.
She's great, and I can just FaceTime her and whatnot, and and then I look forward to seeing her when I do see her. So it keeps the relationship a little bit more healthy, in my opinion.
Well, the old cliches, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, it kind of does, man. It kind of does. And, like most of the time I end up getting myself in prep. And when I'm in prep anyway, I don't notice who's around me and who's not. So it sounds terrible, but I'm just so like involved that the days just go by and it's just routine, ticking boxes, really. So it's going to be like that for a few years. Like I'm with Redcon for another 2 years at least, which is great news for me. So that sees, 2 seasons of bodybuilding, which I'm planning on doing multiple shows a year. It's going to be a lot of time prepping, so it's going to be all business for a while.
Right. Now, I have to throw the gaming stuff in there, because you are an avid gamer. You're on Twitch as, what's your Twitch name?
The Shed is here, and I haven't Twitched for a little while because my PlayStation's back at home.
Oh no!
But people have been asking. They're like, "Will you be back on Twitch?" I will 100% be back on Twitch. Wow. I was having a discussion today, but I was even considering asking Aaron if I can put one of the rooms at the head HQ and make it a gaming room. Yeah. and Twitch from there, because what I'll do is I'll literally wear a Redcon outfit. I don't care, anything that will get Aaron to let me use one of the rooms in there. Sure. He can stick me in a like an outfit where I will have Redcon here. I'll get Redcon tattooed on my forehead if I have to Twitch from there. But worst case scenario, I can put it in the an apartment. but it would be cool if we had something going on, because we have a really good product for gaming, which is war games, and
right. Yeah.
no one really games apart from me. I've noticed, out of all the people at Redcon. So you know, I want to get behind that product a bit more, because I actually do really like it. And
Did you have anything to do with the development of that product?
No, but I bloody should have. Yeah. You know, maybe if we ever do a 2.0. The concept's always been something that I'm very intrigued by, because anything that's like, I'm more, when it comes to like pre-workouts and stuff, for example, I am more just like cognition based. Like I care about how I can get focused rather than pump and strength. Like I just like being in there. And the thing about this war games, I've used it. Warzone's our other product, actually. War games is it's actually a really good pre-workout if you like to have more of a dialed in approach to your session. So
it's good to know.
It is, because people won't, any of the people out there that are hearing, like, I'm just trying to sell this. I'm not. I promise you. If you're not a fan of Total War or Big Noise, give War Games a go. Number one, it tastes really good. It's superior to anything. RGB fuel, just so you know. Try it. It's a very good focus product, and I promise you, if that's your kind of gig, you'll actually like it. And that's actually kind of reminding me, I'm going to go into the office tomorrow and pick some up.
You just reminded me, next time I email Rudy. Rudy.
Yeah, man, definitely try it. I think you'll be, especially like with doing this kind of work as well. Like, you know, you're typing a lot, you're writing a lot, you're doing interviews, things like that require a lot of like just mental attention. It's really, really good for.
I'm glad we talked, because I honestly had no intentions of, it wasn't even in my mind. I'm like, I don't play. My son is an avid gamer, but you know, he's 22. He doesn't need anything. I never thought I would. You know, I'm throwing this randomly because your Ask Me Anything series on Redcon YouTube channel it's awesome. I love it. I wish you would do more of those. But one thing that you said that it really blew my mind was talking about, and this is random, deep tissue massage, because so many of us as bodybuilders, we seek out massage therapists who hurt us, who go really deep, and if we don't get that pain and someone like digging 6 inches into our lat, we feel it was a terrible massage. And I've been there so many times, like, this guy sucks or this girl sucks, and I'm never using them again. And you you talked about how you got sick a few times after massages like that, because these people have no understanding of the lymphatic system, and they're releasing toxins and stuff, and you would get gravely ill for a couple of days.
Absolutely. I was more ill from that than I was from COVID.
Wow.
Like I felt much rougher. So, because what happens is, like, I will tell you this, and like, you know, please, like physicians and whatnot, feel free to comment below the video as you will, because you're going to. But I guarantee any of you that really know your job and know your profession, that you would never really advise to spend 2 hours on someone's body and do a total body physiotherapy session with deep tissue massage, because there's a lot of trauma. So if you were to do that on someone's entire body and have a whole 2 hours on them, I'm going to say now, I think you're actually crazy, and I think you're doing more harm than good. So like a good physician, in my opinion, is going to say, look, today we'll spend a allotted amount of time on your upper body, but I suggest we just do that. Focus in on those points, give them what they need, and don't beat your entire body up. Because honestly, it's like going to the gym and doing a full session, but on every body part. And when I say a full session, I mean what you would do in a whole chest workout, a whole back workout, a whole arm workout. That may sound crazy, but trust me, if you've got a strong physio who has very brutal touch, and they literally do your whole body in one session, you're gonna feel very, very rough, and it's not beneficial, because you're gonna have like 3-4 days off the gym because you feel absolutely fucked. Wow. Like, it's no point. So yeah, I kind of realized that more so over the past year. So I'm very careful with who I see and who I allow to touch me, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know that everybody listened, that was totally random, but I've never heard anyone talk about that before, ever. So I had to bring it up, because
it's just the thing. It's like these, you know, what the industry we're in. Well, I mean, part of it, and it's not one that's discussed very often.
Everyone that competes that I know gets deep tissue on a regular basis. Yeah, you know, at least once a month. Some of them once or twice every week. So that's pretty. It's pretty. It does apply to a lot of us. So.
Absolutely.
So where are you at? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I would advise, when you do your deep tissue, anyone that books it, do try to rotate between lower body and upper body. So I tend to do, like, my one session would be a lower body session, and it can possibly even quarterize, like, to the point where I'll only do quads. Then the next session will be an upper body, maybe like anterior. Then I'll go back to lower body, do the, you know, posterior, so like hamstrings and calves. Yeah. And then finally back to the upper body, your posterior again. and then just rotate like that. So nothing's getting too, destroyed as such. Obviously, if you have specific injuries or something that needs some rehabilitation and work, that's very different. But if you're going for maintenance and, general therapy to keep well, do think about how you're breaking it down. Like you break down your body's training splits as well.
Perfect. So much wisdom. You just turned 30. You're just a young dude.
No, I'm 32. I'm getting old.
You're old. Yeah, 32. Forget it.
No, 32.
Take it all back. But
Yeah.
So, everyone likes to delineate. Are you off season? Are you this or that? Are you in any particular phase right now? Or are you
not really. I'm in kind of a recovery. So I had my blood work done with our doctor, who's Dr. Schneider here. A few things a little bit out of whack, obviously, which are always like liver enzymes were slightly elevated. Just the norm. Cholesterol's a bit out of sync. Got to get my HDL a bit better. Like these are things that people don't really say, but I know what I have to do in order to get those back in, and I'm supplementing and I'm adjusting supplements to suit. So everything's basically in place for a recovery phase for the next 5 to 6 weeks, really. So in 6 weeks' time, that's really when my off season starts. But I am having a very good kind of, it's not a rebound because I'm not being terrible. It's more of a reverse diet as such. Because of the show, because my calories were low for the show. They weren't low. That's the funny thing. They were still high, But my body was so in demand of food that my calories have been up to around 5,500 clean food.
Yeah. And
I do have the odd cheat meal as well for weeks now. And my body's just steadily like climbing up in body weight to a nice amount. And I'm floating between like 283, 286 now. And it seems to be like that's the point where my body's very happy and condition's still pretty good. So I'll be here probably for the next, 5 weeks or so. I still do cardio. I care about my heart health. I care about my mental state, and cardio is something that really does, bode itself to help both of those. You wake up in the morning, you do 30 minutes on a treadmill. It's that time to reflect and just feel good about yourself and, kind of plan your day. But it's also really good for keeping cardiovascular health in check as well. So I do that. That's why I'm not a fat bastard at the minute. Just enjoy the food. I'm not really following a specific diet, but I have like a set macro, like kind of amount in my head. I might aim for 100 and I aim between 100 and 110 grams of carbs per meal a day. 50 protein, 10 to 20 fat. I make sure there's a variety of fruit in there, some antioxidants, there's good leafy greens. So I'm just being really healthy at the minute, but like a lot of food. As healthy as a bodybuilder can be. I know there's a lot of people that, again, in the comments will be bodybuilding healthy. No, but, damage limitation and being more conscious of giving your body the things it needs and that it doesn't quite get enough of during such things as prep,
So I know I shouldn't comment on video or even ask questions in videos I didn't watch, but I was doing some other video and someone started talking. I think it was Nick Trigilli did a video where he talked about you maybe, and I apologize, Nick, if I'm wrong, but he said a certain bodybuilder who didn't do well at the Olympia from UK. I'm thinking that's James, right? I mean, who else could it be? Who else was even from the UK in the Open Olympia? Nobody,
just
right?
Just me.
Yeah. So okay, and they made a comment like he's doesn't care about his health. He said he's going to get like to 350, or said he's going to get huge. And I don't know if you said that or not, because people repeat things that were not actually said.
No, I don't recall saying that.
Okay, so
maybe it might be Nathan, because Nathan's last show.
There you go, might be Nathan. Well,
so it could be Nathan.
He is moving to Kuwait permanently, he said.
Yeah, because me and I get on with Nick really well. I take people as they treat me. Yeah, and like what I will say about Nick is he's always been polite to me.
Yeah.
He done a really nice video where he was just saying like, he did a video that he didn't have to do at all. Like no one asked him to do it. He was saying who exemplifies bodybuilding, like pure bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And he was just saying like, at the Olympia, I was kind of like his people's champ, even though it didn't go my way, it didn't go well. He was just very nice about how I approach bodybuilding and what I represent, and I just thought that's really kind of him. Yeah. I know that Nick's a character that likes to cause a bit of a stir and whatnot. That's what he does in this industry. But I like to say he's always been cool to me. So I think maybe he's on about Nathan because, after the last show that Nathan did, I know Nathan was very unhappy with his placing and was like, "Fuck this."
I was unhappy with his. I don't even
just wait and see what happens.
I was unhappy with his placing at that show, the fourth place.
Yeah, like how did I want to ask you now because I thought he looked good.
He did. I had him winning. I had him winning.
Yeah, like I honestly did. I thought that Nathan got better as the year progressed. If anything, I thought Nathan was. I'm not saying word, but he wasn't as good as he was here at these previous shows, and he still won those. That's why I was a bit confused.
Yeah.
But hey, I know what it's like. The Olympia's got to have a nice lineup, and I've been at a show, and I've looked and I thought 3 people could win. it's just down to the judges who wins. And if it's going to create a really good Mr. Olympia lineup, sometimes maybe that's enough just to say, this time this guy gets it. And, because now we've got Nathan and Samson battling it out at the Olympia next year. That's a cool rivalry, It creates something good for the sport. Like, it makes it feel more like,
wouldn't it be cool if it was you, if you were there too, all three?
I'll be there, man. I promise. I'll be there. That's like
I assume
that's a promise.
You're all,
yeah. So that'll be 3 Brits. Because wait, listen. I say now, I'm a fan of my fellow Brits. So like I am a fan of Samson and his unrivaled kind of willingness to do whatever and go wherever around the world to make this happen. Like last year when he was a lunatic and went to, Korea and all that lark.
He was locked in a hotel room in Korea.
Yeah, he's a
like
madman. He's a madman, but I can't help but respect that. And then obviously I have huge respect for Nathan because he's always been like that #1 UK guy, and he's just like leading the pack really. Him and Luke were kind of like the standouts, and so I can't not respect them. I think they're both great bodybuilders, and they're obviously sponsored by a friend of mine who I care for dearly as well. So I care about his team and how they all perform. So it's really cool. It's cool. Like, I don't know, bodybuilding's in a good place, and I'm glad that a couple of UK guys have qualified for that Olympia, but I promise I'll be there too.
I have no doubt. The Shed.
Yeah, the Shed's coming. Yeah, well, he'll be back.
Go to the Redcon 1 website and pick up your ShedCon 1 shirts.
There's still plenty in, and I'm going to do a ShedCon version 2 soon. I promise. There's going to be like a, I think like a caricature. How do you say the word caricature?
Caricature. Yeah, caricature.
Yeah, I can't say that word properly, but because I wear Luke's one a lot. Like I was wearing Luke's one yesterday, and it's really cool. And I would like one like that, like in honor, but also because it was cool. So keep an eye out. There will be definitely a version 2 with a nice character on there, looking a bit Larry.
Well, I'm so corny that when you come out with that, I will get one from Redcon in my monthly order.
I appreciate it.
The next time I interview you after that,
we'll both wear it.
I'll have it on. Yeah, you get it.
I'll be wearing it as well.
You should have your
I'll
own
promote it and for sure, man. Appreciate that.
Well, I'm very happy to hear you're moving stateside. We'll be seeing more of you at the shows around here.
Sure.
Because I don't see much of you because you're typically over there, across the pond, as they say. And I know. Yeah.
No, I will be here, and you know what? This weekend coming after Thanksgiving, I should be in Vegas for a few days. So I'll be meeting up with my fellow Brit, Jamie Johal. Jamie Johal. Jamie, aka the Giant, is getting tortured by Milos as we speak.
I know.
So I'll be paying them a visit. I don't know if I'll jump in on one of Milos' sessions.
Oh, you have to. You have to.
Oh, I'm gonna have to for the camera. And obviously, like you say, Flex will be around as well. So 3 Brits, 1 roof should be cool. I'll try and get some content while I'm out there as well.
Oh, I'd love to see you a Milos video, Milos training you, because I've already seen you doing the 10,000 pound rows and deadlifts and all that. I've never seen you do like 10 exercises back to back with no rest.
I'm gonna say it now. His shit's gonna mess me up.
Oh, dude, how could it not?
I'm not used to that.
Nobody is. No human being is.
No. I've been watching Jamie's videos, and I have to say they're bloody hilarious.
Even Milos himself says he couldn't train that way without somebody training him. You can't do that on your own. There's just no way. No way.
Well, that should be interesting. And if anything, even if I never train with him ever again, it'll be an experience.
Hell yeah, of course it will.
So it's one you have to at least try once.
Well, welcome to the United States, James. We're very happy to have you. You're a great immigrant. It's a country of immigrants. I live in New England, so I know we all started off from over there at one point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So congratulations on the move and all that.
Thank you, sir.
Looking forward to bigger and better things from you in the months to come.
For sure. Appreciate that, man.
All right. So everybody follow him on Instagram, Hollingshead 89, right?
Yes, that is the one. I do have a little second account because I did get hacked, but I've got my account back.
That's right.
So if you do want to join my new account, which is like my more little, I don't know, it's my little peaceful space, that is James the Shed Hollingshead. So there is 2 accounts. Yeah. One's a bit more business, one's a bit more diary type, kind of like talking about past times and stuff. So I'm being greedy. 2 accounts.
Well, I saw the 10,000 pound hack squat on both accounts the other day.
I had to, some things you got to do on both.
Dude, I told you I would start a 3rd account just for that one set.
Just for that one set.
If I could do that.
James's lifts will do.
That's think about it. Anyway, so and of course on YouTube, guys, he has great content on his channel, IFBB Pro James Hollingshead. Also got a lot of content on the Redcon 1 YouTube channel. And I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot more content on the Redcon 1 now that he's at the Redcon 1 headquarters there in Boca Raton, Florida. So that's it, man. Thank you so much for taking the time, James. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it a lot, and thank you to anyone that tunes in. And like I say, comment below and let Ron know how much you love him and appreciate him, so you can continue doing these videos.
Oh man, yeah, that's a good idea. All right, everybody, remember to like the channel, subscribe, hit that little notification bell so when we have new videos, do the thumbs up, all that good stuff, please. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you next time.